This is Critical Nonsense, our high-lowbrow show about culture, science, and tech. This week, I asked Joey about saying I love you.
Woo! La 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 la. This is what a Joey sounds like. And this is what an executive producer and matchmaker Jess Vander sounds like.
Hi, this is Jess.
Jess,
Hi.
do you love me?
What's the
Do you
film?
need me? Old Greg.
Oh, it's old.
It's from the Mighty Boosh. Jess, you brought a question, and I want to talk about it.
Well, I was talking to Ben Cheney of Sylvain fame, and he had described an interaction with his child where his kid had asked about, hey, Dad, like, who can I say I love you to? And in the spirit of this, at the time of this recording, approaching Valentine's and a topic that is interesting to us and we've talked about in different ways before, I think this is a really fascinating question for us to interrogate. And so I guess that's it, Joey. Like, who can we say I love you to?
I love this question. It feels like a typical critical nonsense question, but even as an adult, it's a question I've asked myself at different points. And, when Alen passed, I found myself making it a point to say it more to more people, including Ben, right? Like, Ben and I have known each other, I think, almost 20 years now, which is crazy. And like, after Alen passed, we started saying, not every time, but like, we say I love you to each other when we're like getting off. Like, we speak every week, and like, not every call, but often now we say I love you to each other. Or like, Margot, our CFO, and I will talk, and sometimes she's like, I love you, baby. And I'm like, I love you too. Like, there is sort of a work dynamic, but like, when you spend all this time with people in work or whatever, you build friendships that you sort of build like a insulator between, like, well, this is a professional relationship. Like, am I allowed to say I love you to this person? But I do. I have affection for it, and so, like, I don't know if we have ever said I love you to each other, Jess, but I love you.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Same. But also, here's why it's so hard is, well, for one, there's like the two different flavors. There's like the like romantic love, like, tell your person that you love them, and like in an early part of a relationship, and that dance of like, who says it first or whatever, which is really different from telling someone and communicating directly that you care about them. That kind of I love you is different, but I think like there are some people who are like, who really reserve and are careful about how they use these terms. I almost think about it like there's a friend of mine who is like really liberal with best friend. Like, yeah, I'm sure she has like 40 best friends. Like, she's amazing, but like, she's like my best friend. I'm like, okay, but there's so many. Like, if you make it into the best friend circle for her, that's like top 40. Yeah. Versus like, for others, it's like when best friend is like, that's only one person can fill.
It's a singular title. Yeah.
Right. It's like a singular title. It's an honorific. And so I think what's really interesting is like that bar, one, like, it's almost like the question of whether there's like an internal and personal I love you bar, and one can set very specific rules about who one feels comfortable doling that out to, which is
Yeah.
kind of different than more of like the socially acceptable, like the nuances of like how to make sure that you don't embarrass yourself most of the time, kind of a thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's probably embedded in some of what Ben Sun was asking is like understanding unspoken like social dynamics of being a man, I'm sure, right? Like of being a young boy and like what are you allowed to say? Can I tell my friend that I love him? Like those types of things. You know, there's lots of different definitions and categorizations of love, right? Like I did a quick search and it's saying like, okay, they're based on like ancient Greek philosophy and modern psychology. There are 8 types of love, like eros, philia, storge, agape, ludus, pragma, philotia, mania.
We have to know about all of these, or at least some of them.
Eros is like romantic, passionate love. It is like sexual passion and desire. Philia is like deep friendship. Storge is familial love. Agape is sort of unconditional, universal love of like being part of the world and just sort of like emanating love out and appreciation. Agape, I said that ludus is playful love. It seems like it's like sort of early relationship, flirtatious, casual, fun. Pragma is like long-term committed love built on duty, reason, and shared goals. Philotia is self-love, self-compassion, self-worth. Mania is a possessive, jealous, and obsessive form of love. Like, so and then there's like things we've talked about, like Sternberg's triangular theory of love, of like what are the aspects of romantic love and things like that. But that idea of like, parsing it in all these ways, part of me is like, would it be easier to say I love you to a friend if you're like, this sounds stupid, but if we had the language like I philia you, right? Like you are my friend and I care for you or whatever. Like
yes.
But because we use the same word to mean, Emerson is sort of asked questions too when I'm like, oh, I love this person. She's like, but you don't love them like mama, or like she's trying to parse the distinctions too. I can see.
Yeah and that's so interesting of like how again it's like if I could be more specific and clear in what I am communicating, then maybe that could be easier for more people rather than sort of the second guessing or the questioning. But because it's non-specific, then it's like, oh, well, could this be easily misconstrued, or could this be like, could this convey a meaning that I did not want to bring, and now suddenly, now there's like a whole drama.
Yeah, I mean, there's also sort of in social dynamics in the same way, like it here's an example of something that probably a lot of people can relate to is at some point in a relationship, if it's getting more serious, you choose to say I love you to a person, and there's this moment in that where it's like, who's gonna be the first, who's gonna say it first, is like a thing, right? And that the sort of embedded in that anxiousness is this reciprocal? Like, will they think I'm saying it too fast? Even if they feel the same way, do they have different understandings of like how serious that is or isn't, so on and so forth? And I think, unfortunately, for like friendship love or other sort of types of love, we like fall into that same trap of like overextending ourselves socially, like putting ourselves out there, the vulnerability of like, like how self-assured are you, right? Like on this podcast I said I love you and you went same, like that dynamic where someone might not receive it back, and how much do you need to receive the equivalence? Like all of these like quirky weirdnesses of humanity sort of get like hung on that one word.
Right. Well, yeah, and also, I mean, certainly for me, I think there's like a tremendous vulnerability because it is a one-way thing, and you cannot demand like say it back. You can't. like, no, it's like, that's not what it's for. You're expressing your own feeling. And for many, that can be pretty memorable or like an important sort of bar reached. And that I can understand, especially if, like it makes sense why someone younger especially would be thinking about like, like what am I exposing myself to by revealing this information and by like saying it out loud. Which, because right, it's also a thing that maybe you can feel, but it is very different to decide how and when to express.
Yeah, I mean, you want it to be a thing that is given freely, right? Like to give with the right hand without letting the left know type of idea. But we are people and we're social animals, and the fear of rejection in any capacity is so great. And
Right.
like, what is your tolerance for it? Like there are so many interpretations and so many bits of wisdom. Like we've spouted off like a few of these sort of like things that I believe are true, and also sort of platitudes. And there's like cynical views and earnest views. When you were speaking, you made me think of this lyric that was like when they swear their love is real, they mean I like the way you make me feel. Like, and it's such like a cynical version of like what is love or how do you give love. And I don't know. I think like ultimately my opinion is like we should say it more freely because it doesn't cost anything and it can make someone feel good and understand,
Sure, but also if you say it to everyone and so freely, then does that lose the meaning and the sort of impact of that? Like, this is a thing that I also, especially in my younger years, where I was like really unwilling to use curse words. I'm still somewhat unwilling, but I am less unwilling than I used to be. But I think part of it was like, because I want to reserve the right to use this in a time where it is so obviously meaningful. Which for other people, if you use curse words all the time, then it's just a regular word. It's just like it's just a word. Not a big deal. Versus if it's like, ooh, it's like the same way that you can reserve the right to use one's full name if they're in trouble. Like I usually refer to you by your nickname, but if you did something really bad, like I'm gonna use your full name. Like, I feel like that's one of those things where it's like, well, is it really one of those things where you can just tell everyone you love them and that's fine, or do you just become like a promiscuous love giver?
I mean, I guess there's like do you start from the assumption that love is a limited resource?
Or more that what your threshold for it is, of like any amount of affinity counts. You know what I mean? Versus like what is the what is the word I'm seeking? How much? Not like a really low bar to count in this big bucket, but it's like, is there what is your threshold for love?
Yeah, I mean, I think, but it's such like, can it just be in a moment?
See, but that's the thing. If you, which all these things go together, of like someone who says I love you a lot, it doesn't have to mean that much each time you say it. And it doesn't have to be a big whole thing. And maybe that makes it easier to say more often, but it also reduces the weight and the sort of intensity of that comment, versus like when reserved for those listening who had a laconic father to stereotype who like never
we don't know anyone like that.
Exactly, who like never said I love you, but then in like one moment on your 5th birthday or whatever like whatever it was, and you never forget that day. You're like, wow, like that. You're like, oh, fascinating. Like for some people, few like little not necessarily limited resource, but like tight, given unfreely, high intensity. Like if it escapes your mouth, it is extremely significant.
Yeah. I mean, the question is, I guess, is like, how often do you say I love you to the people that you love?
Right. Or maybe
no, I'm asking you, Jessica.
Oh, well, I think that I almost exclusively I am freely using for my partnership and for my family. And I think that friendship is really scary. For like, it's like categorically like a very different thing. I don't know why for me, but I think that it was interesting when you were going through that list of like the different flavors. I was like, oh, some of these so easy to say, not scary. Others of these very scary. Don't know how to begin.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think like, I guess like with everything, like you can spread it out too much, but I think broadly socially we are probably more in danger of not spreading it out enough. Like, and so that question of being anxious about a threshold that you are miles away from is like, but where's the line? It's like, well, I know I'm nowhere close to the line, but I know the line exists. Is like, I think, I don't know who would say that, like, as a society, we say, I love you too much. I don't think that's a thing,
but I can see why if the generally accepted rule is like, or more the sort of equilibrium is where people are generally less likely to say I love you freely, then it can have the sort of the cycle of like, well, then if someone says it to you, then they must really have strong feelings, and then you're like, oh no, go away. We're not like that or whatever. And so it keeps it that way. Like to loosen that up, you have to be interacting with someone else who also is okay with that being loose too.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we should go into the wrap-up corner, but I want to give you this thing that we spoke about recently in a different conversation that I had been looking for this quote, and I'd found it, which was the Sternberg quote of the Sternberg triangular theory of love fame, the psychologist, which was, without expression, even the greatest of loves dies.
So better get to making some art then. Better get to erecting some monuments and buildings and make
words aren't enough expression. you must.
No, I immediately went to like, well, and that's how the Taj Mahal exists. Like that's how. Like,
I must create a monolith
forever. Yeah. Wow. So basically, like, do you even care if you're not making a building?
Yeah.
For our love.
You want to wrap us up?
You know, who can you say I love you to? I guess it could be whoever you want, especially if you don't really care what the repercussions or ramifications are, and it's just something that you feel. But I also get, as someone who does care, how that's really hard, and how that can come with other fears and tensions of, well, like, we can't like stuff that back in there, or oh, whoa, like what if it's taken out of context or out of hand or not, whatever the flavor or type of love that I intended. But I don't know, when things get real, it can be a really nice reminder that the people like to hear it. Maybe that's something I need to know too.
Yeah. Well,
happy
I love you.
Almost Valentine's Day for those who love each other and even those who don't love each other. but have experienced love or hope to one day, which hopefully is everyone. Buy yourself some chocolate.
Critical Nonsense is a Sylvain production.
Brought to you by Triangles. It's the love shape. Why? No.
As always, we'd like to thank our executive producer and geometrist, Jess Vander.
I don't like it. I'm so sorry. Thanks to our sound engineer and I'm trying to look for the names of the love names. And we love you, Alex Contel.
We'd like to thank our programming coordinator and Cupid, Les Jacobs.
And thanks to our production crew and the infinite resource. Sarah Gilbert, Nora Mestrich, Christy Jensen, Amanda Medina, and Amy Waters.
And as always, thanks, Ellen.
Thanks.
Special thanks to Love.
Yeah.
Thanks, Love.
That's
You're
nice.
out here. Thanks, neurochemist. Thanks, oxytocin.
Yeah. Special thanks to Bad Bunny's kind words about love. It's like, only, I don't want to get the quote wrong, but wasn't it like the only thing stronger than
Hate
the
is love.
the only thing more powerful than hate is love. Wow.
Thanks to Bad Bunny.
Pretty nice.
Great show.
Thanks to Bad Bunny.
No notes. No notes.
Not a note in the world.
Yeah.
This
I was very entertained.
Are
And the
you
depth.
not entertained?
There were layers. There were many layers in there. Like, good on you, Bad Bunny. Like, that was
yeah.
it was packed with meaning.
It was packed with meaning, but not in like it's trying to be artsy. It was just like, wow, this is it. I get it. I feel it. Look at the joy. The joy and the vibrancy and the love.
Thanks,
the unity.
hugs. Go give
Thanks
somebody
to
a
all those
hug.
good things. That's a
Go
great
give
idea.
somebody a hug.
Well,
All right.
this was nice.
As always, love you, mean it. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Can you say something?
Hello.
Why is it?
Oh, no.